We're going to be looking at custom dates in Tableau. Most of the time when you're looking at measures, you're going to want to split it up across a continuum of time. When you look at the default date that you can drag over into columns, it is automatically aggregated into its highest level, which is the years in this case. And because it's counted as a dimension over here, when you split it up, it's going to add more headers as a default. This is not so easily readable. One easy option that you have to configure the date is to right-click and drag over so you can see all of your options at a glance. If we wanted to look at monthly data, we would be able to aggregate all the sales we made in every January for all the years of data that we had. But this might not be as helpful because you still want to split up the dates according to year. The easiest way to do this would be to add in the year in the MY order date discrete format. Then you would have all of the months and years grouped together as one continuum in discrete fields. Another option for discrete fields that's actually pretty interesting is looking at weekdays. Tableau does a date calculation so that you always know which day of the week a date falls on, and it can aggregate all the sales that you ever made on any day of the week for all of your data. If we want to combine this with something to make it sensical, you can add a custom hierarchy. To do a hierarchy, you need to create a custom date by right-clicking, create, and then going to custom date. And let's take a look at our discrete data across the years. And we want to look at the date part for discrete years. Then we're going to create another part for the weekdays as a date part. So if we want to look at our weekday performance across the years, we can create a hierarchy by clicking and dragging one field on top of the other. You name it, and then you drag the new hierarchy into the view. So first, we have it scrunched up together, or bunched up by, grouped up by years. And then when we expand this, we have years and the weekdays. So across the years, we seem to be making more profit every single year, and the weekends are pretty much consistent across the years. And I guess we can expect this from data that is contrived from an example. But that's one way of looking at custom dates as a tool to split up your data, and especially your time data, into more interesting formats and to take another look at different angles for trending over time. For continuous data, we drag over, actually let's bring in our measure first. And let's right click and drag. We have a few more formats over here. Let's take a look at years as a continuous value. The best way that I can explain continuous date values is that whenever you have a continuous date value, it's always going to act as an uninterrupted whole. So when you expand this, it will always be unbroken. It's not going to add in extra panes like the discrete values did. And if you zoom in a little bit more, you see that we're not getting extra fields over here, but we're just drilling down to smaller portions of time. the smallest of which being the days of the week. But this is not really readable. To change this, we can click on the arrow over here and go back up to the other continuums of dates that are listed over here. Date parts are listed as, well, you can see it. It'll list their individual items over here, whereas the continuums will be listed as whole as they can be. You can also further customize, but we'll go over that at a different time. If, for example, you tried to combine these continuous fields in a customized format, you would find that it would still not create extra panes, and they wouldn't create a hierarchy in the way that you expect. So let's take our quarterly continuous quarterly data, this quarter, and we'll make another one for continuous months. We're using date value because we want to use the continuous dates. So when we drag in continuous hierarchy and we try to force this to drill down or force it into our hierarchy, it just doesn't work. Hierarchical, or I should say continuous data, always forms an unbroken line. So the continuous months will be represented as a whole over here, and the continuous quarters will be represented as a whole over here. So because that's broken, we don't want to continue using that. And instead, we can just use one or the other. Either continuous months, continuous quarters, or you can right-click and drag to use the other formats. Something I haven't used so much of is finding the count of dates over here, or the distinct count of dates as a continuum or as a measure value. This may be more useful for histograms, but we're not going to go over that right now. There's also something that can potentially be pretty useful in terms of the earliest or the latest date for a date field. That's all for custom dates for now.